Deep within the crystalline halls of the Vyrian archive ship Eternal Memory, First Observer Nira studied the holographic display with growing concern. The data streams flowing through her consciousness told a story that grew more troubling with each passing cycle. After 3 centuries of covered observation, the truth about Earth could no longer be denied. "Show me the energy readings again," she commanded, her silver eyes reflecting the shimmer of data streams. The ship's AI complied, projecting a 3-dimensional model of Earth, overlaid with swirling patterns of energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. "The signature is unmistakable." First Observer, the AI's melodic voice confirmed. "The humans are beginning to resonate with the same frequency we detected in the ancient ruins of the warrior temples." Nira's fingers traced the patterns in the air, following the flow of energy that seemed to be growing stronger with each passing solar cycle. The Vyrian collective had discovered Earth centuries ago, expecting to find just another primitive species struggling to master basic technology. Instead, they found something that both fascinated and terrified them. "Cross-reference with the warning stones," she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of what she was about to confirm. The holographic display shifted, ancient symbols appearing alongside the modern data. The correlation was perfect. "Beware the sleeping warriors," the ancient text proclaimed. "They wear the face of peace, but their blood remembers the stars." The warning stones had been discovered in the ruins of a dozen dead civilizations, each one more advanced than the last, each one destroyed in a cataclysmic war so ancient that even the Vyrians' vast historical records couldn't fully document it. But they all spoke of the same thing: a race of cosmic warriors whose power had been so great, so terrible, that they had to be bound into mortal forms and scattered across the galaxy. First Observer, a voice interrupted her contemplation. Second Observer Krell entered the chamber, his usually pristine white robes showing signs of haste. "The Council demands an update. They're growing concerned about the latest readings from Earth." Nira nodded, her expression grim. "They should be concerned, Krell. The humans are not what we thought they were. They're not just another young species stumbling toward the stars. They're them, the warriors reborn." Krell's normally composed features showed a flash of fear. "Impossible. The warriors were sealed away eons ago. The binding was supposed to be permanent." "The binding is failing," Nira replied, expanding the holographic display to show the entire solar system. "Look at these energy patterns. They're almost identical to the recordings we found in the temple archives. The humans aren't just descendants of the warriors. They are the warriors, reborn into mortal form, and they're beginning to remember." The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity's rapid technological advancement, their incredible adaptability, their inexplicable ability to survive against all odds. It all made sense now. They weren't just lucky or resourceful. They were drawing upon something deeper, something coded into their very beings. "We have to contain this," Krell said finally. "If they fully awaken, it may already be too late for containment." Nira interrupted, bringing up new data streams. "Look at these patterns. Their potential is growing exponentially. Their technology, their understanding of the universe, they're advancing faster than any species we've ever encountered. And it's not just their machines. Their minds are evolving, connecting with something ancient and powerful." A sudden alert flashed across the holographic display, drawing both observers' attention. One of their monitoring probes in Earth orbit had detected something unusual, a human communication signal that shouldn't have been able to detect their cloaked surveillance systems. "Impossible," Krell whispered. "Our technology is centuries beyond theirs. They shouldn't be able to." "But they are," Nira said, watching as more alerts began to appear. "They're starting to sense us. The warriors within them are stirring, responding to our presence. We need to make a decision now, before they fully awaken." The choice before them was stark. The Vyrian collective could either attempt to contain humanity's awakening power through subtle manipulation, or they could take more direct action to prevent what they feared might be the rebirth of the most dangerous force the galaxy had ever known. The Council will never approve open intervention, Krell argued. The risk of accelerating their awakening would be too great. We need to be subtle, strategic. Naira's silver eyes narrowed as she studied the flowing data. Then we approach them openly, but not as watchers or warriors. We come as friends, as mentors. We guide their development, shape their awakening in ways that serve our purposes. You mean deceive them, Krell said, though his tone held no judgment. We mean to survive, Naira corrected. The warriors nearly destroyed the galaxy once before. We cannot allow that to happen again. If we must wear the mask of friendship to prevent catastrophe, then that is what we will do. But even as she spoke, another alert flashed across the display. More human signals were prodding the edges of their surveillance network. The sleeping warriors were stirring, faster than anyone had predicted. In her centuries of observation, Naira had watched humanity push the boundaries of their world, reaching always for the stars. She had seen their wars, their struggles, their triumphs. She had documented their resilience, their inability to accept defeat, their almost supernatural ability to survive against impossible odds. Now, she understood why. Send word to the Council, she commanded. Tell them we need to accelerate our timeline. The humans are awakening whether we're ready or not. We need to establish contact now, while we still can. As Krell hurried to relay her message, Naira returned her attention to the holographic Earth, watching the swirling patterns of energy grow stronger with each passing moment. The warriors were stirring from their ancient slumber, and the galaxy would never be the same. Be careful, my young warriors, she whispered to the blue planet below. You don't yet know what you truly are, and if we do our job right, you never will. But deep in her heart, First Observer Naira knew the truth. The warriors could not be contained forever. The only question was whether the Vyrian collective could guide humanity's awakening, or if they would be destroyed by it. The game was about to begin, and the stakes were nothing less than the fate of the galaxy itself. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the podium of the United Nations General Assembly, her heart racing as she prepared to deliver the news that would change human history forever. As Earth's leading xenarchaeologist, she had been chosen to explain the significance of humanity's first contact with an alien civilization. The Vyrian delegation stood to her right, their tall, ethereal forms drawing every eye in the chamber. They appeared almost angelic with their silvery skin and flowing robes, the very picture of an advanced, peaceful civilization. But something about them made Sarah's instincts scream danger. The Vyrian collective, she began, her voice steady despite her unease, has offered to share their technology and knowledge with humanity. Their gifts include advanced medical techniques, clean energy solutions, and educational programs to help us join the galactic community. As she spoke, Sarah felt a familiar sensation, the strange dreams and headaches that had plagued her for months. Dreams of stars and battles, of power beyond imagination. Dreams that had started long before the Vyrians arrived. First Observer Naira stepped forward, her silver eyes scanning the assembled human leaders. We have watched your species' remarkable progress, she said, her voice carrying a melodic quality that seemed to soothe everyone in the room. Everyone except Sarah. We believe humanity is ready to take its place among the stars. But Sarah noticed something in Naira's expression, a flicker of what might have been fear when their eyes met. She had seen that look before, in the ancient artifacts she had spent her career studying. Artifacts that seemed to pulse with energy whenever she touched them. Artifacts that the Vyrians had shown suspicious interest in since their arrival. Colonel James Martinez watched from the back of the chamber, his military training setting off every alarm bell in his mind. As head of Earth's newly formed extraterrestrial defense initiative, he had been tasked with assessing potential threats from beyond the stars. The Vyrians claimed to be peaceful mentors, but their actions told a different story. They're lying to us, he whispered to his aide. Every piece of technology they've offered has a catch. Their medical treatments require constant updates from their systems. Their energy solutions need their oversight. They're not lifting us up. They're making us dependent. The aide nodded, adding another note to their growing list of concerns. In the 3 months since the Vyrians had revealed themselves, Earth had eagerly embraced their gifts. But a pattern was emerging. With each technological advancement came subtle restrictions, hidden limitations that weren't apparent at first glance. Back at the podium, Sarah continued her presentation, but her mind was elsewhere. The headaches were getting stronger, and with them came flashes of insight she couldn't explain. The Vyrian technology wasn't just advancing human capability, it was suppressing something within humanity itself. The educational programs will be implemented gradually, she explained, following the script she had been given. The Vyrians believe this will help us adapt to their advanced concepts without overwhelming our current understanding. We have seen many young species flourish under our guidance, Naira added, her voice carrying that same soothing quality. We understand the challenges of advancing too quickly. Our methods ensure safe, controlled progress. Controlled. The word echoed in Sarah's mind, triggering another flash of insight. She saw ancient battlefields among the stars, felt the pulse of power that had nothing to do with technology. The Vyrians weren't just teaching humanity, they were containing them. After the presentation, Sarah found herself in a quiet corridor with Colonel Martinez. They had never met, but something drew them together, a shared sense that something was very wrong. You feel it too, don't you? Martinez asked without preamble, the wrongness in their perfect gifts. Sarah nodded, glancing around to ensure they weren't overheard. The artifacts in my research, they're different now. They react to human presence in ways they never did before. It's like they're trying to tell us something. My soldiers are reporting strange experiences, Martinez revealed. Increased strength, faster reflexes, intuition beyond normal human capability. The Vyrian treatments are supposed to be enhancing them, but I think they're doing the opposite. They're suppressing something that was already there. Before Sarah could respond, a wave of dizziness struck her. Images flooded her mind. Vast armies among the stars, beams of incredible power, a great ceiling away. And through it all, the Vyrians watching, waiting, afraid. They know what we are, she gasped, steadying herself against the wall. They know what we could become. That's why they're here, not to help us rise, but to keep us from awakening. Martinez's expression hardened. I've got a team studying their technology, trying to understand what it's really doing to us. But we have to be careful. The Vyrians have eyes everywhere, and most of Earth's governments are fully committed to their guidance. We need to find others, Sarah said, her voice dropping to a whisper. Others who feel what we feel, who see through their deception. The dreams, the headaches, the strange abilities, they're not random. They're signs of something trying to break free. In orbit above Earth, first observer Naira watched the exchange through hidden surveillance systems. The warriors are stirring faster than we anticipated, she told her fellow observers. The binding is weakening despite our interventions. Should we take more direct action? Second observer Krill asked, his concern evident. Naira's expression remained carefully neutral. No. Direct confrontation would only accelerate their awakening. We must maintain the illusion of friendship while we implement the final phase of containment. The humans trust us now. We must use that trust to ensure they never realize their true potential. But as she spoke, more alerts flashed across their monitoring systems. Across Earth, humans were beginning to experience unexplainable phenomena. The warrior blood was remembering, fighting against the Vyrian suppression. The question was no longer if humanity would awaken, but when. And what would happen when they discovered the truth about their would-be mentors. The ancient temple ruins beneath the Gobi Desert should have been pitch black, but Sarah Chen could see everything clearly. The walls pulsed with a faint blue light that seemed to respond to her presence, growing brighter as she moved deeper into the complex. Behind her, Colonel Martinez and a small team of trusted soldiers followed, their weapons ready but useless against the real threats they faced. "Another one," Sarah called out, her fingers tracing glowing symbols that matched the ones from her dreams. "These aren't just cave paintings. They're records of what we once were." The walls told a story of beings who had walked among the stars, warriors of unimaginable power who had protected the galaxy from some ancient darkness. But more importantly, they showed how these warriors had been bound, sealed into mortal forms, and scattered across worlds to sleep until they were needed again. "The Vyrians are scrambling to contain the situation," Martins reported, checking the secure tablet. "Their educational centers are working overtime, pushing their treatments on as many people as possible. But it's not working like it used to." Sarah nodded, unsurprised. In the month since their first secret meeting, more humans had begun to awaken. The Vyrian suppressants were failing, and with each failure, more people began to remember who and what they truly were. A sudden tremor shook the temple, and Sarah's vision blurred. Images flooded her mind, not the usual fragments of ancient battles, but something immediate and urgent. "They're coming," she gasped. "They know we're here." Above ground, Varian ships dropped their peaceful facades, revealing sleek warcraft that had been hidden beneath layers of deception. First Observer Nera stood on the command deck of the lead vessel, her silver eyes now hard with determination. "The human awakening has reached critical levels," she announced to her fleet. "We can no longer maintain the pretense of peaceful guidance. Initiate emergency protocol Omega. The warriors must not rise again." But the Vyrians had waited too long. Across Earth, humans were breaking free of their artificial constraints. In hospitals, patients receiving Vyrian treatments began to reject them, their bodies suddenly recognizing the suppressants for what they were. In research facilities, scientists studying alien technology found their minds expanding beyond the artificial limits that had been placed on them. And in military bases around the world, soldiers like Martinez's team discovered that their training had prepared them for much more than conventional warfare. The warrior blood was remembering, and with those memories came power that no technology could match. "They're not just coming for us," Sarah realized, studying the temple walls with new understanding. "This is happening everywhere. The Vyrians are making their move because they have no choice. Their control is breaking." Martinez's radio crackled with urgent reports from around the globe. Vyrian peacekeeping ships were dropping their disguises, revealing weapons that had been hidden since their arrival. The mentors were showing their true faces at last. But humanity was no longer the sleeping child they had sought to contain. In orbit, Earth's fledgling space forces found themselves operating their ships with impossible skill, as if they had done so for centuries. On the ground, civilians discovered strength and abilities that no human should possess. "Sarah," Martinez called out urgently. "The temple. Look." The walls were glowing brighter now, the ancient symbols pulsing in rhythm with their heartbeats. Sarah pressed her hand against the stone, and knowledge flooded her mind. Not just memories of what humanity had been, but understanding of what they could become. The binding was never meant to be permanent, she said, her voice carrying an authority that seemed to come from somewhere beyond herself. "We were sealed away because we chose to be. The galaxy needed to grow, to develop without our influence. But we left ourselves a way to return when we were needed." "And the Vyrians?" Martins asked, though he suspected he knew the answer. "They found our sleeping forms, realized what we were, and appointed themselves our jailers." Sarah's eyes flashed with ancient anger. "Their guidance was just another prison, meant to keep us from remembering our true nature." Above them, the Vyrian ships opened fire, their weapons targeting similar sites around the world, places where the warrior blood ran strongest, where the memories of their true nature were closest to the surface. But they were too late. In the temple, Sarah stood in the center of the ancient chamber, her form beginning to shimmer with power that no human should have possessed. Around her, Martinez and his soldiers felt the change too, their bodies remembering strengths and abilities that had been sealed away for eons. "I understand now," Sarah said, her voice echoing with the weight of ancient knowledge. "The Vyrians weren't just afraid of what we were, they were afraid of why we chose to sleep. There's something coming, something we sealed ourselves away to prepare for, and now it's almost here." Martinez looked at his hands, watching as energy crackled between his fingers. "So what do we do?" First, Sarah's eyes glowed with power that was both ancient and new. "We show our mentors what happens when you try to cage warriors who chose their own prison. Then we prepare for the real battle, the one we went to sleep waiting for." The temple erupted with light, and across the earth, humanity began to truly awaken. The Vyrians had sought to prevent this very moment, but in their desperate attempt to maintain control, they had only hastened it. The warriors were rising, and this time, they would not be bound by anyone's chains but their own. The skies above Earth blazed with warfare unlike anything humanity had seen before. Vyrian warships, their peaceful disguises now discarded, filled the orbit with plasma fire and energy weapons. But they weren't facing the primitive resistance they had expected. Humanity had awakened, and the warriors of old were remembering how to fight. Colonel Martinez stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, though "stood" wasn't quite the right word anymore. He floated inches above the deck, energy crackling around him as he directed the battle with instincts he didn't know he had. His crew, once ordinary men and women of Earth's Space Force, moved with the fluid precision of soldiers who had fought among the stars for centuries. "Their shields are based on predictable energy patterns," he told his weapons officer, knowledge flowing from somewhere deep in his awakened memories. "They never expected us to remember how to disrupt them." The Defiant's weapons fired, not the conventional armaments it had been built with, but beams of pure force drawn from the crew's awakened powers. The shots pierced the Vyrian shields as if they were paper, striking with surgical precision. In her chamber aboard the Vyrian flagship, First Observer Naira watched in horror as humanity broke free of every constraint her people had placed upon them. The careful work of centuries was unraveling in a matter of hours. This was never about technology, was it? Sarah Chen's voice came through all their communications channels at once. She stood in what had once been a Vyrian educational center in Beijing, now transformed into a nexus of awakened human power. "Your gifts, your guidance, they were chains disguised as wings." Naira's silver eyes narrowed. "You don't understand what you're doing. The warriors were sealed away for a reason. The galaxy cannot survive their return." "No," Sarah countered, her voice carrying the weight of ancient knowledge. "We were sealed away for a reason, but not the one you think. We chose our sleep, chose to wait until we were needed again. You appointed yourselves our jailers without ever understanding why we slept in the first place." Across Earth, the awakening spread like wildfire. Humans who had never questioned the Vyrian treatments suddenly found themselves breaking free of artificial limitations. Scientists who had struggled to understand alien technology now saw through its deceptions. Soldiers who had trained with conventional weapons found themselves wielding forces that defied physics itself. But it wasn't chaos. Every awakened human seemed to know exactly what they were doing, drawing upon memories that had been sealed away, but never truly forgotten. The warrior blood remembered, and with those memories came purpose. Martinez directed his fleet with growing confidence, coordinating with other awakened commanders around the world. The Vyrians had superior numbers and technology, but humanity had something far more powerful. They had become what they were always meant to be. Their entire strategy was based on keeping us asleep, he transmitted to the global defense network. They never prepared for a real fight against awakened warriors. The Vyrian ships began to retreat, their carefully laid plans falling apart. But Naira wasn't finished. She activated a hidden system, one that had been built into every piece of technology they had given to Earth. "If we cannot contain you," she declared, "we will end this now. Every gift we gave you carries a kill switch. Your power plants will explode. Your medical treatments will turn lethal. Your cities will burn." But Sarah had already seen this coming. In her awakened state, She could see the threads of Virian influence woven through human civilization, and she knew exactly how to unravel them. "You still don't understand," she said, her voice carrying to every human on Earth. "We are not what you thought we were. We are not simply warriors. We are the ones who taught the galaxy how to fight in the first place." With a gesture, she sent a wave of power through Earth's infrastructure. The Virian kill switches shattered, their carefully hidden programs overwritten by something far older and more powerful. Humanity wasn't just breaking free of Virian control, they were turning it against its makers. In orbit, Martinez watched as the Virian fleet's weapons turned against them, their own technology responding to humanity's awakened command. "We remember everything now," he transmitted to Naira, "including all the weaknesses you built into your systems, hoping you'd never have to use them against fully awakened warriors." But even as humanity celebrated their victory, Sarah felt a deeper truth stirring in her awakened memories. The Virians weren't their true enemy. They were merely jailers who had lost sight of their purpose, who had never understood what they were trying to contain. "There's something coming," she whispered, her eyes seeing beyond the immediate battle. "Something that made us choose to sleep, to wait until precisely the right moment to wake." The Virian fleet retreated in disarray, their grand plan to contain humanity lying in ruins. But Naira's final transmission carried a warning that sent chills through even the awakened warriors. "You think you've won." Her voice shook with fear and something else, a terror of something far worse than awakened humanity. "You were sealed away because the galaxy feared your power. But there are things in the dark spaces between stars that even the warriors feared. And now you've awakened just in time to face them." As the Virian ships vanished into hyperspace, humanity stood on the brink of a new era. They had broken their chains, remembered their true nature, and reclaimed their place among the stars. But Sarah, Martinez, and the other awakened ones knew this was just the beginning. The real test, the one they had sealed themselves away to prepare for, was still to come. And this time, the warriors would face it with eyes wide open, ready to protect a galaxy that had forgotten why it needed them in the first place. The void between galaxies was supposed to be empty. But as Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of humanity's newest starship, the Remembrance, she saw the truth that her awakened senses had been warning her about. Something vast and ancient was moving in that darkness, something that made even the warrior's blood run cold. "They're coming through," she said, her voice carrying to every awakened human in the fleet. "This is what we were waiting for. This is why we chose to sleep." 3 months had passed since humanity broke free of Virian control. In that time, they had rebuilt their civilization with awakened knowledge, transforming Earth's technology and society in ways that would have seemed impossible before. But they hadn't stopped there. The warrior's blood remembered its purpose, and that purpose was to protect. Colonel Martinez, now Admiral of Earth's Defense Fleet, joined her at the window. The power that flowed through him had become as natural as breathing. But even he felt dwarfed by what they faced. "The Virians knew," he said, watching as space itself seemed to twist and distort. "Not the whole truth, but enough to be afraid. They thought containing us would somehow prevent this from happening." "They didn't understand," Sarah replied, ancient memories surfacing. "We didn't seal ourselves away out of shame or weakness. We did it to prepare, to ensure that when the Void Ones returned, we would be ready." The Void Ones. The name sent shivers through even the most powerful warriors. They were the antithesis of life itself, beings that had emerged from the darkness between galaxies eons ago. In humanity's first incarnation as the warriors, they had fought these entities to a stalemate, but at a terrible cost. All ships, battle positions, Martinez commanded, his voice reaching every vessel in the combined fleet. Humanity had not prepared alone this time. After the Virians' retreat, other alien civilizations had come forward, ones who remembered the true history of the warriors. They had come not to contain humanity, but to stand with them against what was coming. Sarah placed her hand against the transparent barrier, feeling the vibrations of reality itself as the Void Ones began their emergence. We chose to sleep because we needed to evolve, she explained, understanding flowing from her awakened memories. Fighting the Void Ones as we were wasn't enough. We needed to become something new, something that could face them on their own terms. The first of the Void Ones emerged from the darkness, a vast shape that denied description, that hurt the mind to look upon. But humanity didn't flinch. This was what they had been preparing for across eons of sleeping and awakening. All warriors, Sarah broadcast, her voice carrying the weight of ancient authority. Remember who you are. Remember why we chose this path. The human fleet moved as one, their ships guided by instincts older than civilization itself. But they weren't just fighting with technology, or even with the raw power of the warriors. They were fighting with something new, something that had evolved during their long sleep. We didn't just seal away our powers, Martinez realized as he directed the fleet's movements. We sealed away our potential to become something more. Every generation that lived and died as humans, every struggle and triumph, every moment of growth, it was all preparation for this. The Void Ones struck first, their attacks bending the laws of physics themselves. But humanity was ready. The warriors' power flowed through them, enhanced by generations of human innovation, creativity, and determination. They weren't just ancient warriors reborn. They were something new, something that combined the best of both their natures. Sarah stepped forward, her form blazing with energy that was both ancient and new. "We are the warriors reborn," she declared, her voice reaching every ship in the fleet, every awakened human across space. "But we are also humanity. We are what happens when you combine the power of the stars with the endless potential of the human spirit." The battle that followed would be spoken of for generations to come. The Void Ones fought with the power to unmake reality, but humanity fought with the power to remake it. Every human who had awakened brought something unique to the fight, not just the warrior's ancient strength, but new ways of thinking, new approaches to problems that had once seemed insurmountable. Martinez coordinated the fleet's attacks, combining tactical innovations developed during humanity's sleeping years with the warriors' battle knowledge. Sarah led a team of awakened scientists and scholars, using their combined knowledge to find weaknesses in enemies that had once seemed invulnerable. And across the battlefield, humanity demonstrated why they had chosen this path. The Void Ones fought with overwhelming power, but humans fought with something more. They fought with the adaptability and determination that had defined their species during their long sleep. This was always the plan, Sarah realized as she watched humanity turn the tide. Not just to recover our strength, but to become something new. The warriors had the power but lacked the innovation. Humans had the potential but lacked the power. Together, we're something neither the Virians nor the Void Ones could predict. The battle raged for what felt like eternity, reality itself twisting and reshaping around them. But in the end, it was humanity's unique combination of warrior power and human spirit that made the difference. The Void Ones, for all their cosmic might, couldn't adapt to the new strategies, couldn't comprehend the way humans took their ancient powers and used them in ways that had never been tried before. As the last of the Void Ones retreated back into the darkness between galaxies, humanity stood triumphant. But they were no longer simply the warriors reborn, nor were they just the humans they had been. They had become something more, protectors who combined the best of both their natures. "We remember everything now," Sarah said, speaking to all of humanity and their alien allies. "But memory isn't destiny. We chose to sleep so we could wake up as something new, something better. We are the warriors reborn, but we are also humanity, and that makes us stronger than we ever were before." The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had awakened not just to their ancient power, but to their true potential. The perfect fusion of warrior strength and human spirit. They had broken their chains, faced their greatest enemy, and emerged as something new. The warriors were reborn, but this time, they were awake to all they could become.